23.
Well, it's cold. I should have took the boat.
John.
You know, I can take me about 8 of these things here and I'll be drunk.
No,
That's actually real wine.
well, we can have one then.
Huh?
No one?
That's real wine.
I didn't know.
Yeah, try one of them.
I'll save it for later.
It's actually real wine. But it's actually real wine.
Do you want one to do?
What is it?
Peppermint.
Oh, I like peppermint.
What is it? Can't feel my books no more.
I said it's really good. I'm just right on that house.
Very cold, that go right through you. Oh,
I guess Joe's gonna be here.
I hope so. I haven't heard nothing.
I was gonna play a joke on the old seat all the way down. I thought, that'd
Uh-oh.
be a bad joke. I'd be one needing to use it.
Yeah, we'll hit you first.
So I didn't do that. I said I'll raise it up so it actually works better.
Oh, okay. Who's that? But you said so.
clean those bricks out there. Just,
My pressure washer,
yeah, that don't work.
I got to put another copper on it, it'll work.
Eh,
For a brand new pressure washer. I used it a couple times. I loaned it to my son. He tried to use it, it wasn't working. I went over there and pulled the carburetor off and found out my little butterfly wasn't hanging up.
Oh, that's.
I was missing the screw out of it.
Probably.
It never did run right from the day I got it. But I finally figured out he run right since, he runs since.
Everything's like that to a degree.
Yeah, yeah, if
They
it's
do it on
gas,
purpose.
Yeah, they do.
I know.
gas powered is the worst.
I don't know, it works good. When it worked well. When it was working, when I pushed it to the switch to run for pressure washing, it didn't run. I had to put it on choke to make it run right. Then I put it on the regular run when I want to start it up, so it's completely backwards.
Did you?
They had their eyes closed when they put it together.
Oh, it never would put it together.
I know, but that's what it seemed like.
Did you put your songs?
No, how many songs I
on?
Normal. Oh, I can do them by request. I can pick them out of my head, it doesn't matter. I'm pretty good at picking them out of my head. 216 the invitation.
Thank you.
216. I'm picking them out of my head here. Hope this is a real song. Mine's already marked. I can't complain. Mark yours. Should be already marked.
Any word from Donna?
I haven't heard it.
I've sure been praying for God to send angels to help her. It's horrible. It's horrible to be there all alone. Well, I mean, she's not exactly,
Well, no family.
nothing. But I mean, God's with her. That's all that matters.
God is with us all.
I know, I just told him so. Even to the end and beyond. That's what I told him.
But it all depends now. After the judgment, he might not be with some.
Well, we have to believe.
It's actually a good song.
You laid it on there.
I'm bad about stuff like that. Switch over to messenger. Messenger. Oh, you need it?
Hey, how much time we got before we have to change phones?
Change phones?
Yeah, they're making us change again. G5.
Oh, ours is 4 or 5 already. So.
Oh,
Now we got an old cheap phone.
Yeah, you have Verizon?
uh-huh.
Usually you can get a phone for free. It's not a great phone, but it's free.
Yeah, I haven't been there yet.
They give you a Motorola and it makes a good paperweight.
Oh, I bet, but does it work?
I said it makes a good paperweight.
Do you want your phone?
Yeah, we don't want one of them.
Oh, I think we have to.
I don't know, the thing was acting stupid a while ago, that's why I was wondering if they got to cut me off.
No, sometimes if you run out of data,
It's weather.
yeah, well, weather, and if you get low on data, it runs slower, and there's always the catch-22.
Mine gets low on data, it runs so slow it don't work. But they say it's working. There's studies saying updating, downloading, So it downloads for 45 minutes and you watch 5 seconds, then it downloads for another 45 minutes. So to me, that's not working.
No, we don't download.
That's unlimited data.
I know, but they worthless sometimes. I'm serious.
I used to have a pixel. I didn't like. I used to have a pixel. I didn't like my pixel. Now I want my pixel back.
Yeah, but do they make them?
No, they don't make them no more either.
They don't make me more.
Oh,
No,
I still got it at that house. And my SIM's card to fit in.
frame it, that's all I know.
they have their little catches.
You mean the government's doing that?
They've been doing all that bomb over at Fort Stewart.
Yes, sir, I know all about it too, but you know what they done? They sent all them young fellas to the front line.
You don't care about them people.
I know that.
You don't care about anybody but yourself.
Well, people can say what they want to about Trump. We did not have this problem when he was on. And everybody thought he was going to pick a fight with everybody, but they liked him. They respected him.
They had a lot of respect for him. They look at Biden as he's a big joke.
Well, I don't know nothing about them, but when they're in there, things go haywire.
Well,
On purpose.
I read on the thing what Russia says about him. Russia said he's an embarrassment to the whole country. Every country saying that. He's not but a big embarrassment.
Well, he's a puppet like everybody else. God bless you, heard that, didn't you?
What?
Us being a puppet?
Our country?
No, us.
I think we're more sheep.
Have you
I don't know, I
have
feel
your
like I'm
walls
bad.
been rattling with Fort Stewart?
Yeah,
Even at our house, and
Shaking.
it's been
we're
hard.
pretty good ways.
And she got a plate hanging on the wall.
I had
Oh,
to
God,
take
it's
everything off
bad.
the
It
wall.
almost come off.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Joe. I'm your assistant. Here to help you throughout your day.
Oh, look
Here's
out.
some things you
It's
can
cheating
try
on
to
you,
get
Kim.
started.
It's cheating on you.
They asked if we wanted Alexa, and I said,
No, I don't know Alexa.
What, do you have any Alexis? Uh-oh.
No, that's
Okay, never mind.
that's, you don't say.
not. Uh-oh.
She's
Those are
gonna
handy
hear
things.
you.
Those are
You
handy
gotta be
things.
set up for it, right?
Hmm?
You gotta be set up for it. Kind of.
Not really, no. It's free, but
They can spy on you.
if you buy, no, they can't.
Yes, they can. Hear everything you say and see everything you do.
And,
And you deceive yourself. You don't wait.
and I found out I don't care.
I know, I don't do
I
nothing.
know.
I don't do nothing, I'm worried about them watching.
Yeah, that's right.
But you have to have, like your TV can be enabled. You can say, Alexa, change the channel that it is now. Or the floods.
You want me?
Oh,
Not right now. So what I do is I say, Alexa, good morning. And she turns on all the fish man.
It's not
The
true.
light.
oh,
So the lights in the living room.
you a favor.
Yeah, it's really good time.
Anywhere from down
Yeah, I talked to her this morning right after we left, so this afternoon. They put her on solid food, so she thinks she may be coming home.
there.
soon. Not
Right,
today, but
right.
soon.
It's an uplift anyway.
Yeah.
You better?
Yeah, she is. I got such a big crowd. Hope they're all gonna drown me out up here.
If you see.
I better pick Rudy's and the voice keeps going out on me. Any requests, easies? Kim?
Warmer weather.
Oh, yes.
I don't think that was in here.
No.
Well, yeah.
About 61.
Now, Kim, you gotta pick ones I know too, okay? It keeps me singing. I was singing 61 and 62, my first two songs. How was that? Now, who's gonna do, I guess you're gonna do opening prayer,
Up here.
you do closing prayer?
I can do both.
Okay, it sounds good. You make some more people pumping.
I think the phone is keeping everybody out in the rain.
This is about it.
All right, number 61. There's within my heart a melody, Jesus whispers sweet and low. Fear not, I am with thee, peace be still, in all of life's ebb and flow. Jesus, 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 sweetest name I know, fills my every longing, keeps me singing as I go, feasting on the riches of His grace, resting neath His sheltering wing, always looking on His smiling face. That is why I shout and sing. Jesus, 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 sweetest name I know, fills my every longing, keeps me singing as I go. Soon He's coming back to welcome me, far beyond the starry sky. I shall wing my flight to worlds unknown. I shall live with Him on high. Jesus, 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 sweetest name I know, fills my every longing, keeps me singing as I go. I'll sing one right underneath it. Have thine own way, Lord, have thine own way. Thou art the potter, I am the clay. Mold me and make me after thy will, while I am waiting, yielded and still. Have thine own way, Lord, have thine own way. Search me and try me, Master, today. Whiter than snow, Lord, wash me just now, as in thy presence humbly I bow. Have thine own way, Lord, have thine own way. Hold o'er my being, absolute sway. Fill with thy Spirit, till all shall see Christ only always living in me.
Almighty God and Father of all, we thank you for this day and all its many blessings. We ask, Heavenly Father, you be with each and every one of us. We ask that you'll be with those who are sick. Father, we ask you'll return them to their much wanted health. Keep the care for each and every one of us, Father. Thus we pray. Amen.
Let's find another song. Oh, come in. What number?
488.
48?
How's everything?
488.
Oh, 488. Get that away. 488.
Yeah.
I don't know, you got that. Oh, we'll find out. 488. Sing to me of heaven, sing that song of peace. From the toils that find me, it will bring relief. Burdens will be lifted at our pressing surge. Showers of rain, blessings on my heart will flow. Sing to me of heaven, let me fondly dream of His golden glories, of His brightly gleam. Sing to me when shadows of the evening fall. Sing to me of heaven's sweetest song of all. Sing to me of heaven as I walk alone, dreaming of the comrades that long have gone. In a fairer region among the angels throng, they are happy as they sing that old sweet song. Sing to me of heaven, let me fondly dream of his golden glory, of his pearly gleam. Sing to me when shadows of the evening fall. Sing to me of heaven's sweetest song of all. Sing to me of heaven tenderly and low, till the shadows on me rise and swiftly go. When my heart is weary, when the day is long, sing to me of heaven, sing that old sweet song. Sing to me of heaven, let me fondly dream of his golden glories, of his pearly gleam. Sing to me when shadows of the evening fall. Sing to me of heaven's sweetest song of all. Mark number 216, 216.
Okay.
All Egypt.
All in me.
Like that passed about.
In Galatians 5, Paul is using a similar tactic that Jesus uses. He is making things seem, things that are very complicated seem very simple, because he uses ways of people thinking that they already know. In this case, everybody knew, and they depended on, and they knew it about fruit trees and vines that come from fruit and things like that, or fruit that comes from vines. And he uses this in Galatians 5 and verse 22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there is no law. All those who are Christ's have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. And if we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Now abide faith, hope, love, these three. But the greatest of these is love. That's in 1 Corinthians 13. Now, what does that mean? The greatest of these is love. Like I said, it's part of the fruit of the Spirit. The Spirit told us the kind of thing that's going to happen. And now, Paul will write in 1 Corinthians 13, abide in faith, hope, and love, these three, but the greatest of these is love. Well, in the English language, and I had never figured out why this is, but we have so many things, or we use this word or overuse it really. We can love anything. Now we have, the last I checked, over 200,000 words in the English language. Ancient Greek had about 12,000. They had much, much less. And so they overused words. But oddly enough, they split this into other words. Because what we translate as love, they translate in other ways, in different words, for love. In fact, four different words are translated love in the New Testament. First is the one that is translated a couple of times because it's not used too often, but eros. That's the love between the genders, love between a man and a woman. That's that romantic kind of love that we feel that we're going to celebrate a week from tomorrow. Um, on Valentine's Day. This kind of love, eros, is a love that exists between a husband and a wife, boyfriend and a girlfriend, something like that. But then there is another kind of love, which is phileo. That would be a family kind of love. This is the kind of love you feel for the people at a family reunion. This is the kind of love that I can remember when we go to Dad's family reunion in Missouri. And we went to Mom's years ago in Mississippi. There were people there that I didn't know, but you felt a kind of a love for them anyway. And my aunt, my dad's sister, both of them actually, they're really big into this, and hopefully we're trying to make plans to go this year if we can in June. But they try to make us know how we're related to each other, and to be honest with you, I never read all that. I just know we're related to these people, we talk to them, we introduce ourselves. But it's a different kind of relationship. And then there is storge, which is the love that a parent and a child would have towards each other. This is a love that a parent feels when they sacrifice for their children, or they put themselves in harm's way, or they provide for them, or they work for them. But then there is a word called agape. This is benevolence or charity or loving supremely. Now, this is a commanded kind of love. It enables us to love those for whom we have no affection. It springs from the will or the mind. This is the love that is translated love in that fruit of the Spirit passage that I told you about, that we read just a moment ago. Now, this is a love supremely. This is a love that Christ has for us. He gave up for us. He was commanded. It was part of God's plan. This is the love that God has for us. It is a love that he feels he must do. It is also the love that we are to have for God, a love that we are to have for Christ. This means that we want to, now, charitable or benevolence kind of has the right meaning, but the wrong feeling. But it's the kind of love where you will give up because you love him so greatly. It's also the kind of love that we are to have for each other in the church. And I'm getting ahead of myself. In John 13, 34 through 35, Jesus says, "A new commandment I give to you, that you love one another as I have loved you, that you also love one another. By this, all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love one for one another." Now, by this, all men shall know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. What does that mean? That means that that's how his true believers are going to be known. It does not say if you take the Lord's Supper every first day of the week, or if you don't use pianos or organs when you sing, or if you have the name Church of Christ outside your door. It does say if you have love for one another. First of all, 1 Peter 2:17, I will love the brotherhood. I will love people who are in the church. Now think about that for a moment. I will love the people at church. Now, before COVID happened, and people could mix freely, so I doubt what I'm trying to say is true tonight. And usually on Sundays it's not true, but any other day of the week, bars and taverns are full. And churches are not on Sunday. There are several reasons why I think that might be, but one reason is that if you go to a bar or a tavern, you're going to get exactly what they advertise. I can remember several years ago, when I was living in Kentucky, I went to this restaurant that we had in town, and it was called Somebody's Barbecue. Well, folks, the little town I lived in had two restaurants. They both served the same exact thing. They both served home cooking. Folks, I love home cooking, but you get tired of it. And besides, I went to church with a whole bunch of ladies who could do home cooking better than restaurants could. And some of the stuff I could do better than restaurants could. And so I was really looking forward to it. I'd drive all the way to Pikeville to get Chinese food or Pizza Hut or something like that. But in our town, I had barbecue, but I never ate their barbecue. And the reason is because every time I went, they didn't have it. Guess what happened? I mean, I went in and said, I want barbecue sandwiches on the menu. He said, oh, we don't have barbecue today. First few times we went, said, okay. Now they would talk about it. The guys that owned it would talk about it, say how wonderful it was and everything like that, but never had it. And so after a while, I never went back. You know, it's not going to happen. Bars, taverns, they advertise liquor, beer, wine. And when you go in, that's exactly what they have. Churches advertise love, forgiveness, acceptance. But when you go there, is that what you get? So you won't go back. And in fact, it's gotten so bad, people won't come in the first place because of that. I love the brotherhood. I will love those who are lost. What does that mean? I will give up. I will sacrifice for those who are lost. This is what happens when I give Kim the letters and I send out benevolent statements and things like that. People have, churches have given up, individuals have, and I got to looking at it when I was doing it. There are actually more individuals that are giving towards Roland than there is churches. Now he's got a couple of churches that give quite a bit, but so I don't know about the totals, and I haven't broken them down, but people want the gospel to be preached in the French-speaking world, because Roland isn't just in Paris, he's predominantly there, but he goes to several other places, all over the French-speaking world. I will love the weak brother. We will give up our sacrifice for those who are weak. Now, what usually happens with those that are weak in many churches is they are not loved. They are spoken about and judged and gossiped about. I will love my enemies. That one's a tough one. That means that I will sacrifice for my enemies. But I have found through living on this planet for so many years that if you show love towards an enemy many times, not every time, but they will cease to be an enemy. I will love my neighbor. And when Jesus was asked about this, who is my neighbor? He told the story of the Good Samaritan. I will give up for those who are our neighbors. And when you think about that, that is a wonderful lesson for the world today. Because I will love my neighbor. Because today, our neighbors are not just the people that live near us or maybe in our own town. Our neighbors can actually be all over the world. I heard some news this week of a very good friend of mine, as it always happens. We lost touch. Our lives have gone different ways. He passed away this past week. I meant to write something in the bulletin about it, but I didn't because I couldn't at the moment. I wrote his wife and wrote her a letter and have yet to mail it in the morning. But our neighbors can be everywhere today. People that we think highly of. In fact, when I emailed the bulletin out Friday night, it goes out 1 a.m. on Saturday morning. That's when people expect it. I don't get up and do it. I schedule it. Brother Darrell Reed from Spring City, Tennessee, who I've met one time. He has gone back and forth and talked to me about the church there, and we've talked about what we can do to help it. And, he's talked to me about Donna and talked to me about other things and told me about his life. I told him about mine. He said, brother, let me know if there's anything that you need. Here's my phone number, text me. I've done it before. Our neighbors are everywhere nowadays, and it's great. Tom texts me almost daily to see how Donna is. And in fact, it's gotten so much that I told Donna to put his contact in her phone. Because see, now with WhatsApp, you can talk to people not only in this country, but all around the world. And you call them, video call them, text them send them pictures, all kinds of stuff. After Christmas, I sent Tom a whole bunch of pictures of Macy and Cameron and Kathleen opening the presents. And he said, I cried when I saw this, because he sent me pictures of his kids. And will soon probably be sending me pictures of grandkids. That's my neighbor. The people that I share this planet with. And I will love each Christian. Because you know at times it is hard, it is difficult. And I think it has a lot to do with the world we live in and the people we surround ourselves with. Now, let's look at that same commandment. Love is the motive for all that we do. It is the reason behind everything that we do. And I've often said the preeminent mission of the church is to preach the gospel, but I think that's because it's from that motivation. It bothers me when people preach the gospel for other reasons, for monetary gain or influence or this, that, or the other. We love the world. We love the lost. We love the members, so that's why we preach. It is the great unifier. You know, I was looking at everything that's going on in the world today. January 6th, I was looking at Russia's buildup of Ukraine. I was looking at the Russians entering into Belarus. Look at several things here lately in the news. And you know what got me about the January 6th thing is that when one of the policemen, he was saying, I was in fear for my life. And then all of a sudden, a group of those stood between me and those who were going to hurt me. Same people. People on the same side, and they protected me, and they put me back. That's the reason, put me back with the police. Now, whatever you feel about that day, that guy's life was saved because somebody, several people actually sacrificed themselves for him. That's what love can do. That's what love can do. And if there was love between the peoples of this world, there would be 100-something-thousand troops on the border of Ukraine. There wouldn't be problems in Belarus, whatever they are. There wouldn't be trouble we have here. If we genuinely loved our fellow man, it's the great unifier. Now look at one word in that passage. As. You love one another as I have loved you. It's sacrificial. We'll talk about that tonight. Let's emphasize it now. Love is sacrificial. Love means you give up something. And I think that's probably about the best term that we could have for love, is that we give up. Because you see, everybody has two things. They have wants and they have needs. I have them, you have them, everybody in the world has them, and the world has them. And I got to thinking about this. I want and I need. Need is stuff like food and clothing, and in Southeast Georgia, right now, heat, but mostly air conditioning. Water inside. Sewage. Wants. Every husband is asking his wife right now, what do you want for your birthday? What do you want for Valentine's Day? Because that keeps us from having to try to figure it out. Those are wants. Things you don't necessarily need, but you want. So what do I give up? Do I give up what I want for someone? Yeah, that's sacrificial. That's love. But what do I give up my want for? I give up my want to provide something that they need. Now that's the first level. If you sacrifice for someone, you give up something that you want, not necessarily need, for something that they really, really need. That's love. But only the first level. If you give up something that you want so that they can have what they want, not something they need, but something they would like to have, that's the next level. If you give up something that you need so that they can have something that they need, that's third level. In other words, you give up a meal so that they can have. And then, you know if you truly love somebody, if you do without something that you need so that they can have something that they want. Parents do that all the time. They juggle the checkbook at the end of the month and don't pay the bills so the kids can have something for Christmas. That happens all the time. Love is sacrificial. It is incredibly merciful. It is incredibly merciful. Mercy is the strong treating the weak with kindness. And lastly, it's where we live. It's the environment of the believer. Everywhere you go, everything you do, every person that you encounter, you make sure you treat them with love. What do we do, folks? If that action comes out of this agape kind of love, it's always right. I don't care what people say about it. If it comes out of love, people say it's so hard to live the Christian life. Well, to understand may be hard at times, but to understand it's not that hard. If what you do comes out of love, how can it be wrong? How can it be wrong? Above all, maintain constant love for one another. For love covers a multitude of sins. Be hospitable to one another without complaining. There was a lady, older lady, not really old, but she was older middle age. She was afflicted with, and I don't even know what it's called, that she had a susceptibility to infections. And it made her face be covered in pimples. She's very sensitive about it. Well, there was a couple in her family who had a 5-year-old boy who had never met her before. And they were on their way. And on the way to this lady's house, they were her relatives. Don't talk about her face. Her face has pimples on it. She's very sensitive about it. Don't say anything about it. Wrong thing to say to a 5-year-old. When they got there, he crawled up in her lap, touched her face, and called her name, Aunt whoever she was. Says, your pimples are really pretty. You see, he got away with it. Mom and Dad went, but the aunt was so happy and so thrilled and so moved. You know what? He did the wrong thing. But his actions were motivated by love. So all of a sudden, it made them right. And she knew it. And you know, if people know that you love them, if you've proven that you love them, there really is no limit to what you could say to them. Unfortunately, in this world, it's not popular. We don't love each other, and we don't let other people know that we love them. Now, it always happens every year. My principal does this every morning, but I've been doing it for decades. Her name is Elizabeth Braver, and she says at the end of our announcements. And remember, Miss Rayburn loves each and every one of you. And so, as the kids leave, I learned this from a guy who was a referee who was doing a coaching clinic one time. He said, why do you coaches not use the word love? Those kids are giving up for you. Why don't you tell them you love them? I started thinking about that. He was exactly right. I was a football coach at the time, and we required quite a bit out of those kids. If they get mad, I said, all right, come here, you know you love me. Or you know I love you. You know, by the end of the season, these big old football boys are saying, I love you, Coach Holloway. I love you too, buddy. And today, I do the same thing in class. I'm telling you this because I love you. I understand. A child that hardly could say my name without a cuss word around it is ninth grade, years now in 11th grade. And he's seen what I've done for him. And he's begun doing stuff for me. He calls me sir now. He says, Dr. Holloway, I love you. I said, I know you do, son. I love you too. Not the best student in the world, but you know something? Pass it. You know? He gets enough to get by. It's ninth grade year, he was plotting my death. I'll take it. You know? People will change. People will change if they know that you love them. Now look at this passage. And understand the stuff in parentheses is stuff that's added. It's not the most important thing. And see, the reason I'm putting this here is because the Greeks had a problem with it too. They probably overused the word. And so what Paul is saying in 1 Corinthians 13, look, when I say love, this is what I mean. Love suffers long, is patient, is kind to all people, does not envy, jealous, does not parade itself, arrogant, is not puffed up, proud or egotistical, does not behave rudely, discourteously, does not seek its own, is not self-serving, is not provoked or easily angered, thinks no evil, does not keep a record of wrongs, does not rejoice in iniquity, finds no pleasure in sinful things, but rejoices in the truth of God, bears all things, he forgets an injustice done, believes all things, believes the best, hopes all things for the best, and endures all things, refuses to give up. And verse 8, love never fails. Now, love never, ever fails. Is of all the things that we can show people, the greatest is love. For any reason you stand in me, I respond to the Lord's invitation when you come. Together we stand, and as we sing.
Take my life and let it be consecrated, Lord, to thee. Take my hands and let them move at the impulse of thy love. Take my will and make it thine. It shall be no longer mine. Take my heart, it is thine own. It shall be thy royal throne. Take my love, my Lord, I pour. At thy feet is treasure stored. Take myself and I will be ever only all for thee.
Shall we pray? Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this day, and we know it's the Lord's Day, and we thank you so much for it. We ask, Heavenly Father, to dismiss us from this place, but never from thy presence. He's guide, guard, and direct us all the days of our lives. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Not much to say. What I said this morning, Super Sunday's 3 weeks away. Where everybody's bringing their own stuff. If you'll notice in the bulletin, this is the Bible verses are going to be about love in February because of Valentine's Day. Believe it or not, there are 4 different people who are thought to be St. Valentine. The one people look at mostly is that a Roman emperor, I can't remember which one it was, one of the Christian emperors, thought that men were not the soldiers they should be because they were too involved in family, so that he made marriages illegal. No marriages were to be performed. And a guy by the name of Valentine went ahead and performed them anyway. And the emperor had to behead him for it. That's the one they think that might be the St. Valentine that we celebrate St. Valentine's Day, but nobody knows for sure. Is there anything else we can talk about?
We're going to Jacksonville tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
We're going to Florida. We're going to be looking back.
How long are you going to be gone? Today or
Wednesday.
2 days? Don't sleep in the bed of a truck, but you sleep in a hotel.
Yeah.
Anything else? Remember, Donna, so I talked to her. I didn't talk to her up for church because she had so phone. Could be she's asleep. Could be doctors over there. Evidently not. She'll call that, but she's not doing too well, and her spirits are not that great either. So be mindful of her if you would and pray. All right, folks. We'll see you Wednesday. If not before.
Stay warm.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh. And I have to.
Yeah, sickness will jump all over you if you're careful.
Oh.